The Green Bay Packers defense took a huge step forward in 2025. New defensive coordinator Jeff Hafley implemented a new scheme, and the addition of multiple new playmakers, most notably all-pro safety Xavier McKinney, helped turn the Green Bay Packers defense into a top 10 unit. However, there's one name that's starting to strike fear into the hearts of opposing offenses, and that's linebacker Edgerrin Cooper. In just one season of play, Cooper has already established himself as one of the scariest defensive playmakers in the league, and he's just scratching the surface of what he can be. It's not just his play on the field, but the persona that Cooper seems to embody once he steps on it. Prior to multiple games his rookie season, Cooper posted pictures of the iconic horror villain Michael Myers onto Instagram. That almost seems to be his alter ego at this point, with Cooper even getting a Michael Myers tattoo over this offseason that required him going under anesthesia. Cooper is trying to establish himself as the NFL's boogeyman, along with one of the top linebackers in the league. Let's take a look at how he got here, his impact on Green Bay's defense, and his outlook in 2025 and beyond. Welcome to Best Available. Before we dive into Cooper, thank you so much for watching. Make sure that you are subscribing on YouTube if this is your first time here, and follow on our socials at BestAvailableYT. When the Packers took Cooper in the second round of the 2024 NFL Draft, this was my reaction. There's a good reason for that. Not only was he my top-graded off-ball linebacker in that class, he was personally my favorite prospect regardless of position. The tape was truly that much fun to watch for an off-ball linebacker. The first exposure I got to him was the game against Alabama, where he was used all over the field as a spy to contain Jalen Milroe's rushing ability off the edge to generate some pass rush pressure. He was just all over the field, and some of these clips that you're watching right now really showcase that impact. That game put Cooper on the map, but once you started diving into the rest of the film, there were so many other splash plays from his final season at Texas A&M. Earned All-American honors with 17 TFLs, 8 sacks, 2 forced fumbles. After the season was over, he just kept checking boxes in the pre-draft process as well. He posted a 9.13 relative athletic score, or RAS, despite being a bit undersized for an off-ball linebacker. He posted a top-tier 40-yard dash time for an ILB at 4.51 seconds, had a shuttle time of 7.99 seconds, and a 34.5-inch vertical.
He's fast. He's really, really fast. I mean, he's so fast. He makes fast people look not fast.
I got it. He's fast.
And despite all of that production and athleticism, he ended up sliding in the draft, allowing the Packers to take him in the second round. The rest of the league probably regrets letting him slide, because in just 14 games for the Packers, Cooper racked up 87 total tackles, 3.5 sacks, a forced fumble, an interception, and 4 pass breakups. Pro Football Focus had him as the 5th highest graded inside linebacker in the league, with a minimum of 250 snaps. And all the guys ahead of him were truly elite, well-known household names. We've got Fred Warner, Zach Bond, Bobby Weck. Is that Oren Burks? Cooper lived in the backfield as a rookie with 13 tackles for loss, the most by a rookie since Clay Matthews in 2009. He was also the first player to win NFC Defensive Player of the Week multiple times for the Packers since Clay Matthews in 2010. This is just a reminder that Cooper was doing all of this as an off-ball linebacker while Matthews was doing it out at edge, just kind of reinforcing how impressive Cooper was finding his way into the backfield from depth. So let's dive into Cooper's film. You probably think we're going to watch one of the games where he was named Defensive Player of the Week out of the NFC. Instead, I wanted to go to Week 17, where they played the Minnesota Vikings, which I thought was one of Cooper's most complete games, an example of how much he grew by the end of the season. I really thought this game from Cooper highlighted everything that he had learned over the year. Yes, his athleticism and explosiveness were big reasons why he was so successful in college and going to the NFL, but I thought he really put everything all together in this game. So we're looking at this first clip. We got Cooper right here over the center. We got Darnold under center. So what I really like on this first play from Cooper, we're going to watch. He's getting ready. He reads Aaron Jones going downhill. all of these offensive linemen are going to try and muddy this up for Cooper, right? We got all of this noise happening right here. What Jones is going to read is look at all of this space right here. That's understandable for a running back. You know, you're looking for green grass. Cooper knows that for a running back, right? So instead of getting caught up in all of that noise, Cooper is scraping over and tripping up Jones, which is just a phenomenal play. So we can watch that again. It's under center. Cooper is reading that Jones is trying to go downhill and cut back, flies over, wraps up, trips him up. It's not the cleanest tackle, but he gets there, which is important, and brings to the play. It's just a really nice play to avoid getting caught up in all that noise and the interior and scraping over to make the play. So this next play here, I think this is a combination of Cooper's explosiveness, instincts, and potentially even preparation. You're going to notice Darnold, hands on heads. He's tapping his helmet for a can call. So basically, for a lot of teams, there are certain plays where you have two plays come in at the same time. So you're going to, call the first play. If you don't like the look, you're going to can it, and then you're going to run the second play instead out of that same formation. So everyone's acknowledging that can. Cooper is right here. Because of that can, he's potentially thinking, all right, basically they like something else out of this look. So that's my guess is how he's able to react so quickly to this, because boy, does he react quickly. Let's go ahead and roll it. You see Cooper adjust. He starts getting close, knifes around the block, gets into the backfield, shows off that explosiveness for a nice TFL. Really big fan of that play. Maybe it is preparation. Maybe it's just instincts. Maybe it's, a combination of everything. But I thought it was really impressive, him recognizing, hey, can call. There's something about our look that's standing out. I need to get in that backfield quick if I read what I think is coming. So just a really nice play there. All right, you see it again. Another can call here. Darnold's tapping it. You see Cooper right here getting ready for it. But instead of just showing off the instincts, I want to show off the athleticism, because this should be a pretty easy climb block for this guy right here, right? Put one hand on here if this defensive lineman is climbing over, and then get to Cooper. But if you're not the most athletic offensive lineman, you're going to have a hard time catching up to Cooper. He is so much faster than you. I mean, that boy fast. Look here, he just gets around. It's not even an issue for him to get into the backfield. And, that one's not as much of a great play by Cooper, but just him using his athleticism to be faster than a slower guard. Those mismatches at this level can be devastating for opposing offenses. It's a mismatch that Jeff Hafley is going to recognize over the offseason. Like, less athletic guards trying to climb to Cooper are just not going to be able to get there. All right, here's one I'm really excited to share, because I really wanted to get some clips of Cooper off the edge. It's something I saw in college. I think he can bring some legitimate utilization as a pass rusher, whether it is blitzing from depth or coming off the edge. Something really interesting I found in my research, Cooper only played 49 of his 643 snaps at outside linebacker or edge. But I think he has the skill set to play there, and I think this clip's going to show you why. So we're seeing pre-snap motion. Cooper is getting off the edge. Look at that dip and bend. I know he doesn't finish this play. I really wanted to show that off, because I don't think you see a lot of linebackers that are capable of doing this. So again, starting from this outside, we get another can call from Darnold. Cooper gets to the edge quick. It's that dip and bend. There aren't many inside linebackers that are capable of doing that. Yes, it's a touchdown, but I just wanted to focus on that from as far as the edge. Like, you don't see that from these kind of guys. I really am curious if Jeff Hafley starts installing some more packages where Cooper can try and fly off the edge, and then maybe you get a power rusher like Lucas Van Ness or Rashawn Gary over the center even. I know Gary had a lot of fun doing the salsa dancing crossovers when he's playing over center. It's just another wrinkle of this defense I think you could see a bit more in 2025. So one of the things that impressed me as the rookie season developed for Edgerrin Cooper is that he was way more disciplined than I was expecting. Because I can tell you, I've watched a lot of linebackers in my days that are incredibly athletically gifted, but don't rely as much on technique and discipline. And I wanted to show this clip here because I thought it showed a good example of Cooper being very gap sound despite having that. So we can see right here, like, this is not the flashiest play, right? Cooper's just focusing on outside containment here and just holding that gap. You can tell he is making a concerted effort to hold this gap down. Clearly, that's where the running back wants to go, but it's going to force him to cut back. So, what gap are you cutting back to? You have a defensive tackle crashing down here. You've got all this help if he wants to break over 2 gaps. It's not a good situation for this running back because Cooper's willing to do the not flashy thing, and he still makes contact there and allows McDuffie to come and clean this play up. I'm just a huge fan of the unselfishness here. So let's run this whole play back just so you can see it in full speed. Cooper, focusing there, does still get a shoulder into the running back, but by focusing on his gap, allows McDuffie to come from the backside and clean it up. That's the kind of discipline you need from a linebacker. You don't want them just being like, I'm the fastest guy on the field, I'm going to run wherever I want, because that opens up gaps if a linebacker is just freelancing. I thought this was a great disciplined play. It's not the flashiest thing, but the fact that A, he's able to maintain his gap, and then B, still get a shoulder into the ball carrier, that's a hell of an effort, even if it's not, the splashiest play from his rookie season. All right, we're going to start up this clip as the ball is being snapped because I want to show you just how quickly Cooper is getting out here. This is where that talent and athleticism really comes into play because this is just patently absurd. Like, the speed and then fighting through the stiff arm to make it to that is just beyond what I'm expecting from a guy of his caliber. Just watch it again. Just perfect angle, full speed. It almost feels like he gears up again as he gets closer to Jones to run through him. Even with that stiff arm attempt, it's such an impressive effort just to even get there and then finish that play, especially trying to make a goal line stand. Just, man, like that explosiveness is just, it's been so long for a Packers fan base to see a guy that can move like that at the position. And that play speed will show up just even in pursuit. So we got here, you're going to see Cooper coming from the backside and just his full field pursuit on a play like this. It's a toss. Look at him just get all the way across the field. Like, the offensive line can't even prepare for this kind of speed. I mean, think about what we're trying to do here. We're trying to have the left tackle seal him off because we got a cut block here. He's going to climb here. These guys are engaged. We're trying to climb here. Like, in theory, this should be an easy seal out, and then he has all this space to potentially take off. Cooper's barely accounted for in this play because, again, the backside linebacker isn't expected on an outside run from the opposite side of the field. Even if he's getting there, it's probably 4, 5, 6 yards downfield. Instead, what we're going to see is just Cooper. Again, this guy can't even... He's just left watching. He's just like, all right, I guess we're going to see what happens. And Cooper flies all across the field, man. Like, even McDuffie's just like, man, this guy's an absolute dog. I want to watch it again. Let me find it. Again, the left tackle's trying to seal him off on this play. Just too fast getting there. Just, what a play. McDuffie with the head tap. Hell of a play. Despite all of the highs, there were still some lows from Cooper's game, even in this one, which is just to say that, like, he's far from a perfect prospect, and that's expected for a rookie, especially at the linebacker position. I know linebackers are always thought of as these physical tackling machines, but there's so much mental post and pre-snap processing that you need as an ILB that as a rookie, you're going to be a step slow. I think about it, from a basketball standpoint too, when you're working on your moves as a younger player, everything you're thinking about is going to take a second because you're thinking step by step by step instead of one fluid motion. As Cooper gets more comfortable in this defense, there's going to be less jittery processing, right? Like, all right, I've done this. Now I need to do this. Then I need to do this. That reaction time and all of that will start flowing a lot faster. So the first example of that was him just taking on a running back as a blitzer with the running back handling pass protection. And I'm glad that we got to talk about with the Vikings because Aaron Jones is probably one of the more underrated pass protecting running backs in the league. So this is a great test for him, right? But this first play leaves a little bit to be desired with Cooper blitzing off the edge right here. We're going to watch this and just see Cooper blitzing. Should have a free path to the quarterback, at least run through Jones. Instead, he almost like runs away from Jones, and that allows him to he basically washes himself out of the play, which is not what you want in this kind of situation. So let's roll it back. Again, if you just watch it, Cooper's almost shying away, and it allows Jones to steer him around the pocket. He starts running away instead of through. And I know Jones is a great pass protector, but as a linebacker with your momentum and your explosiveness, uh, you should be able to run through most running backs. Instead, Cooper shows a little bit of hesitancy there. It gives Darnold a clean pocket. Now, I think it's important that we show you some other plays as the game progressed. What I love to see from a young player is them learning from their mistakes or things that they need to clean up, especially in the middle of a game. That's probably some good ass coaching too, because we're talking about it on the sideline and he's correcting it. So I just circled Cooper, another blitz, much, much more willing to run through Jones this time around. I love seeing that. We're going to watch it again. Instead of hesitating and trying to run around, he just goes right through Jones. Now, I know it's a quick pass, but clearly the pocket's collapsing because Jones is getting pushed back in there. It's a great play by Darnold to get the ball out ASAP, but just a much, much better job of what we were talking about. We need to see Cooper not shy away from contact against a running back. That should be your time to feast. If Darnold's holding onto that ball for a half second longer, that's a much uglier play for the Vikings. We got another example here of Cooper being much better about handling running backs as a blitzer. This time he's coming off the edge, and we see still trying to run through. Again, against most running backs, this is going to be a lot uglier. Aaron Jones is just so much better than the average running back in pass pro, but we can watch Cooper coming off the edge, and his ability to punch and get extended here, pushes Jones back. Jones almost has like an offensive line type anchor here, which I'm just blown away by, but just a much better job of Cooper improving on that. As he gets bigger and stronger with an NFL weight program, he might just obliterate different running backs this season and in the future, handling as a blitzer, which I think is going to make him much more productive as a pass rusher. All right, so we talked a bit about that processing being a tick slow, and I think that actually shows up more in coverage for Cooper. Not against every team. Like there was some, flashes of good coverage ability in games this season, but with an offensive mind like Kevin O'Connell and the way the Vikings operated on offense, they kind of picked on Cooper at times in coverage. So you're going to see a bit of a mesh concept here. Not a bit, it is a mesh concept where you have two drag routes, and basically what you're trying to do with those is create natural picks, right? We want these defenders bumping into each other, getting in the way of each other to create that separation. And Cooper struggles with that here on this mesh. It seems like it's man coverage from what I'm seeing, with Cooper almost playing this middle of the field kind of robber role, maybe even a spy on Darnold. But that ends up muddying the rest of this mesh concept. So if we're watching Cooper here, he's not sure who he's supposed to bite on, what he's supposed to take over. And because of that, he gets in the way of the corner and leaves wide open. So if we just watch it again, Cooper is going to shift. He's not sure where he's supposed to go. He's going to get in the way of Stokes. That's going to leave this open. Yeah, just not sure. He's even in the way of Bullard, and it just creates separation. That's one of those things. If you know your role, you can't get this muddied and get in the way of your teammates. It's gonna make it too easy for the opponent. You can see that indecisiveness as he's trying to process everything happening in front of him in real time. A great example of what we were talking about earlier. It's just going to happen with a younger player, especially at such a mentally demanding position like Ilb. This last one is just a really tough one after the game that Cooper had on just biting on play action, losing his assignment. You can see him right here. He should have ideally man coverage on CJ Ham, the fullback, which, hey, I know I'm a Packers fan. I love that the Vikings have a fullback. I wish there were more of them still in the league, but we're going to watch here that Cooper just clearly bites on that play action, and it's too late to react, which should have been his key if that's his man, is this fullback. The fact that his shoulders are square, he's just never going to have the time to flip his hips and catch up to this. He's far too late. It's an easy outlet for Ham, who gets the first down and lets the clock keep running. Just a really unfortunate play for Cooper, who had such a good game. But these are the kinds of coverage things that Cooper's going to have to improve. And I think that's just going to come with the processing like we talked about. Instead of thinking step by step and making your movements more rigid, especially when processing as a coverage linebacker, feeling more comfortable in the defense with more reps, more time to understand what he's trying to do. A lot of these mistakes, I guarantee you, are going to maybe not go away, but be fewer and far between. So what's the outlook for Cooper in 2025 and beyond? I think it's very clear from what we saw at the end of his rookie season that Cooper has this elite level of potential playmaking, clearly a splash playmaker in this defense. And that's what can really make him a superstar. I mean, he had 4 tackles for loss in that Vikings game that we just watched. That's pretty incredible, and just shows a player of his caliber that he can be a true superstar in this league. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic there. You give him another year in Hafley's system to get more comfortable. You give him an offseason of weight training to continue to get bigger, stronger. I think the thing that we're overlooking, though, is the Quay Walker element on all of this. Him and Quay did not get to play a lot together this season. Both guys missed a few games, and those games kind of staggered. As you saw, Quay was not even in the game that we were watching with Minnesota. I think Quay Walker is essential to making Cooper even better, though. I know a lot of Packers fans aren't the biggest fans of Quay, but I think he brings a very important element to this defense, and that's being a thumper that's able to eat up blocks and free up the rest of his teammates as a big Mike linebacker. By being able to do that with a healthy Cooper alongside him, it's going to open up a lot more for Cooper to shoot gaps and find his way into the backfield more frequently than he was as a rookie. So if Quay stays healthy, Cooper takes a step forward as we're expecting. I'm trying not to be hyperbolic or get ahead of my skis here. I think there's a legitimate Pro Bowl, maybe even All-Pro season incoming from Cooper. I think he's that good. Along with the explosiveness and athletic ability, I think a year of getting more comfortable processing and reacting, he's going to be a force to be reckoned with in this league. You saw the tape. These are rare things that Cooper is capable of doing, and I think you're going to see a versatile utilization from him. I think you're going to see him in all types of roles depending on matchups. Be ready for a big breakout year from the boogeyman, Edgerrin Cooper. Thank you so much for watching today's episode of Best Available. Again, make sure that you are subscribing, following us on socials. We'll be back later this week with a conversation with a former colleague of mine. Can't wait to talk about some training camp battles. We'll see you later this week. Thanks for watching. Best Available.